Out there still? Oh, here you are. Yeah. You were right. We get that if it's still left over. Ken Cannon, Chair of the Finney County Commission, Mayor Harold Panzer, City Mayor, Grace Stoner, who Kim got right. Dr. Fenton was head of the County Health Department. Dwayne West, I guess you did say that. Well, I think you guys were, or maybe part of it. Dwayne West, as a county attorney back in the early 60s, was instrumental at really helping in making sure mental health services got started in Finney County. And then the architect, Morris Jones, I didn't think anybody would get him, but those 6 folks are on this slide to say, what did it take back in the late 50s and 60s to get started? So Kim, you need to come up and grab some. And you better grab first because they're going to go fast.
Not taking over you.
I actually wrote out some questions to make sure I didn't miss these. So I don't know the answers on some of these. Anybody can name either one of these 2 guys? It's a little better photograph. Anybody take a shot on these? Wiley, I'm hoping you know some of these, or somebody. Darwin. Mike? Okay, you got it. He read it. Dr. H.P. Whittington, and then what I believe is the first executive director of the Area Mental Health Center, Dr. J.J. DeLucia, is on the right. And I think he's the first executive director of Area Mental Health.
No, he wasn't.
He wasn't, Darwin? Okay, I was hoping you would straighten me out if I was wrong.
First executive director was a lady, and she was a psychiatrist.
So is that Edgington, or Erin Edgington, I think is her name, something like that. She's a part-time
She was
psychiatrist.
here for about half a year, and she found out who all the rich ones and the poor ones that were to pay, and so she went into private practice and took all the rich ones out.
Yeah. I still love the story that we started the Area Mental Health Center with 3 employees. Actually, there was a part-time psychiatrist. This Dr. Edgington, I think is her name, something like that. And there was a female psychiatrist in that day, in 1960 and 61, who started services, and then a psychologist and a clerical person. And then DeLucia came in 62 or 63 is what I thought, but I didn't know if there was a...
There was another fellow that had a DeLucia.
You sure? Are you thinking Larry Davis? Because he came right behind.
Larry Davis, they had a DeLucia.
I had it behind. No, I'm not going to disagree because I don't know. But okay, who won that? Mike, did you get that one?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Okay, good. All right. And again, some of these old. This is simply a slide of the old. Yeah. This is Gardendale, and there's just 2 in there. Oh, I think the reason I left this slide in here, and I just have a few of these, but I love the 1966. There is a Ulysses table way back there, and Marshall from the Ulysses office is here running a camera. But it says 1966 brings evaluation, and what this article and what the history that I could gather was that Ulysses actually joined the Mental Health Center as an entity in 1970. We know that. But they were actually a part of the Finney County Mental Health Center in 1961 in the first year until 1966 when they got upset about something. And I'm thinking, Grant County getting upset about something. And they withdrew from the Mental Health Center of Finney County until 1970 when they got that. Who can name these 3 folks? Carla. Exactly. Dr. Ford, who's executive director, and Max Beschberger, who I know is running around this room somewhere. There's Max. And Jean Patterson, who was a very influential and a great board member for the Mental Health Center back in her time. Carla, make sure you grab one of those gifts, okay? Yeah. Yes. Dr. Patterson was in that Syracuse area. And I remember working with Dr. Patterson. He was a joy to work with. He was really committed to the people. Anybody can name these 3 folks? Somebody new. Who can name these guys? These people? Hands. Gotta have hands. Sorry. Okay, Captain, you're lucky. You're all right. Jill Whipple has that one. Don Gleason, who is the director of the Mental Health Center in Ulysses, and Don Ford, and Jerry Minzy, another very instrumental board member. She is a county health nurse and supervisor at the county health in Grant County. So please pick up that gift. But thinking about that, I have a picture of Don Ford in there. I just wanted to break just a second and read you a letter from Don Ford. Dr. Ford was our executive director. He was with the center 23 years, so he's probably executive director for about 18 years is what I guess. Wiley, do you know? Something like that. He wrote a letter and he asked me to share this with you all tonight. He said, hello to all, to Rick and staff. Hopefully some of them still remember me. To members of the board and friends of Area Mental Health Center, I am so sorry I'm not able to be with you in person, but welcome the opportunity to reminisce a bit about days gone by. My congratulations to all on this marvelous occasion of AMHC's 50th anniversary. My time at AMHC spans almost 24 of those 50 years. I was hired by Harry Bud Lester as an assistant director or program director in 1977, and then became the executive director at the beginning of 1983 when Bud left. After almost 18 years, I stepped down as director, and then a year later, fully retired. When I became the director, Area Mental Health Center was a relatively small operation. We had 4 outpatient offices in Garden, Dodge, Scott, and Ulysses, and a small, very manageable budget. Jamie, where are you? It's a small, manageable budget. Okay? I can't remember exactly, but right about the time I was director, we topped $1 million budget figure, and that was pretty special. We are now, for the last 5 years, we've been over $10 million in our budget. The management headaches in those early days were relatively minor compared to what was to come. I know that many of you remember that the state then began demanding more and more of the centers, and at least partially funded those demands so that our programs and our budget grew astronomically. One of the last of these state mandates was called mental health reform, where we were trying to manage more and more long-term mentally ill in our communities so that the state hospitals could close. That was accomplished, and AMHC always met our expectations with this program, and we continue to do so. Our uncomplicated outpatient system grew into a very complicated array of services, including community support programs in all our locations, our inpatient facility in cooperation with St. Catherine's Hospital, and specialized services for children. Our staff numbers grew significantly along with our budget. From my perspective, we have become a big-time operation. I'm sure Rick is chuckling at this as I know that you've continued to grow even larger since my tenure. Despite the growth and the problems we faced during my years at AMHC, I very much enjoyed my stay there. My job was made so much easier because of the excellent management staff with whom I had the good fortune to work. Unfortunately, many of them were lost to AMHC in the tenure following mine. And I'd be remiss if I didn't raise the names of some key people who come to mind as important players in the last 50 years. Bud Lester, my predecessor, who despite his problems, along with some key board and community leaders, managed to get 14 counties in southwest Kansas to cooperate on a new concept called mental health. Mary Burke, who came to AMHC relatively untrained, but became a highly skilled business director for most of my AMHC years. Bob Whippo, who so ably followed her, may God rest both of their giving spirits. For the medical direction given by Max Tier and Ted Matson, Wiley McFarland, my board chair forever and a great support, and so many others. Good and skilled people like the Don Gleasons throughout the staff and board made my time at AMHC a joy. Southwest Kansas was home to me and my family for 24 very good years. My kids, all now married with their own kids, were educated there and have all gone on to successful professional careers. I've always been thankful for the opportunity provided to me by the board to lead this wonderful organization. I also congratulate the board on the choice of your current director. I've known Rick for many years as not only a skilled leader, but a good person. I was able to promote him to positions of greater responsibility on 2 occasions as regional director and children's service directors, and was always excited or delighted with the job he did. I know he's doing a wonderful job as ED. I can see Carla looking at her watch, so I better close. Again, I congratulate everyone associated with AMHC over the past 50 years, from the board on down. You're here tonight because you played a role in developing and maintaining high-quality mental health services in our southwest Kansas communities. For 50 years, you've done a very good job. I wish you only the best in the 50 years to come. From Dr. Ford, and he was very special for me. Yeah. Why we wanted to present that to you in sync with Dr. Ford said about your being our board chair through his tenure and a lot of mine. I have you down as 23 years as a chairperson of the board of directors of Area Mental Health Center, and nobody else has done that. Thank you very much. Okay, got a few more slides here. Okay, who can tell me when this groundbreaking was and where? Again, you can read it, guys that are on the front. I'm hoping some of you in the back can get your hands up and take a stab. Dolores. 1983, and where was this groundbreaking? Garden City, outpatient offices now on Spruce, where the old garden mill was. Very good, Dolores. Make sure you grab one of those gifts, okay? Cool. Okay? Who can tell me when and where this groundbreaking was?
Dodge City.
Who's got their hands up? Come on, somebody. All right, Louise. Dodge City. Give me a date.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm going to say 90.
That far.
89 or 90.
Steve says 89 or 90, and somebody up here says, we can't read that on there, and it doesn't say it. And I really don't have any clue, but I'm thinking Steve is more 83 or 84.
No, I started in 83. 83, I was regional director, and that was 87, so it's got to be 89.
Okay. So, Louise, where are you? You make sure you get a gift. You took the first stab, and we're going to go with Steve's 89 when the current building was built in Dodge City. And I just bring it up, I have a couple of these slides just to help remind us of the importance of board members, the importance of facilities. And we've been blessed with facilities and county support, city support for the facilities we have. Okay. I don't know if I had a question on this one. Okay, can you name? I've got, can you name all? Who is the executive director here? Who can tell me who the executive director is? Okay, I got Bud Lester, Carla, Harry Lester, Tiffany,
Don Ford.
Don Ford. As a trick question, sorry, Carol, you were right there in Carla. Tiffany, you got this one. Get it right. This was after Bud stepped down, and George Carlin, or the Governor Carlin's wife, was visiting, and so Bud's just. Nope. I'm reading it now. Oh, I'm sorry, Tiff. It says that Don Ford is still program director. I thought this was right after the transition because Bud hung around for a little bit. Carol, you got this one. Make sure you pick up the gift. Leave the center bag for Carla and I.
I'm taking it and burning it.
She said she's taking my center bag and burning it. Yeah. Okay. I love this slide. I love this slide. If any of you don't know, the famous Jim Rosenbeek is back here in the middle. I know what that is. The question is, and Jim, sorry, you're excluded from this one. The question is what sport did this guy reach a Hall of Fame in? What sport was he active in that got him into a Hall of Fame? Christy says football. Jim, am I right? You got into your football Hall of Fame at your college, right? Stud. Christy, yeah. I love that slide, though, Jim. That is classic. Woo. Actually, Dr. Tier is a young man, and I don't have a question, but he also wrote a letter. He was invited to attend, and I thought he was going to make it, and then he wrote a letter saying, you know, I'm sorry I can't make it, but, so, sorry guys, I have to put up with just a quick letter from Dr. Tier. Good to hear from you. Yes, we are both vertical and vocal. You have really decentralized. I've not seen so many different addresses on any one agency sheet of stationery. Expansion has been almost explosive. I could not have imagined this when I joined AMHC in the spring of 1972. AMHC was a 4-person office in a remodeled World War II housing project on Spruce Street in Garden City when he started to work. It was a 3-person office in a remodeled furniture store on Highway 50 in Dodge City. Later, a 1-person office in the basement of the Ulysses Hospital. Remember that, Marshall? Ulysses Hospital is where we started Ulysses. And a 1-person office in the attic-like